Hi, and welcome to IDW's WonderCon panel. I'm Nachie Marsham, a publisher at IDW Publishing.
I'm John Barber, editor-in-chief at IDW Publishing. You look different, Nachie, from the last time we did one of these.
Yeah, no, it's been a while. I think the dining room table set has been rotated into the lovely attic backdrop set. So hopefully everyone can appreciate both versions of home office that I can bring to the affair. Have you added some books in there since the last time?
Oh, I haven't changed what's behind me for a long time. I don't know. I don't even know what's behind me. So
I'll let you know if anything starts moving. Once we start getting into Lovecraftian bookshelf horror, we'll give everyone a fair warning. Speaking of giving everyone a fair warning and smooth segues, we thank you all for taking the time to watch us not only banter about our backgrounds, but talk about our upcoming lists across everything from both IDW and Top Shelf. We have a fantastic array of stuff to talk through with you and a lot of very exciting creators to bring you their own personal opinions and viewpoints on some of the projects they're working on as well.
Yes, yeah. I'm excited. We're going to be talking about a lot of upcoming projects at IDW, like TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Star Wars. And we're going to have Kevin Eastman joining us, and High Republic Adventures writer Daniel José Older, talking a lot about Transformers, Sonic the Hedgehog, Marvel Action, Godzilla, then create our own series, and Top Shelf. And I actually don't know that much about Top Shelf, so I really hope by a stroke of luck, maybe Lee Walton will join us. So we can only hope. And if everybody actually out there wishes really hard, that is what makes Lee appear. So
if you clap your hands while I furiously text Lee, hey, where are you now? Then we'll be able to make the segment happen on time.
But looking forward to doing it. It's always fun to come up to WonderCon. My hometown basically is Anaheim, so I miss getting to go up there for a big convention. But this is certainly the next best thing.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully we'll be able to do all this in front of you, everyone, before too long. But we very much appreciate you being able to take advantage of the stay-at-home version of WonderCon for everything in 2021. I guess kind of taking it all from the top, we want to kick into things by talking about everything exciting coming up with Locke Key.
Sure. Yeah. I assume everybody's pretty familiar with Locke Key. Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. It's been one of the flagship titles at IDW forever, I don't know, for a very long time. Hit show on Netflix. I don't know. We can. I certainly can't say anything about the new seasons because I don't know anything about the new seasons. So.
Yeah, outside of what is out there currently involving the fact that season 2 is coming soon and the green light announcements went out for season 3, we're super excited to see what the continuation of that world is from Netflix and our partners over at IDW Entertainment. And in the more immediate future, we're really excited about the doors that continue opening throughout the franchise for everything that we've got going on earlier in this year.
Yeah, I genuinely couldn't be more excited about the comic. It's one of my favorite comics, period. But as I'm sure a lot of people have heard, it's teaming up with one of my all-time favorite comics ever. One of my formative comics. One of the I think Joe and Gabe's formative comics with Locke Key Sandman Universe, Hell and Gone, a crossover with Sandman. Spectacular. I know Gabe's been posting a little bit of art. This is some of the best art I've ever seen Gabe do, which is saying a lot because I think
that is a very high bar to be setting.
Yeah. Well, it's probably the last issue of Locke and Key was probably the previous high bar for Gabe, but this stuff is super spectacular. This goes back to the era of Sandman #1 in terms of the story. Is there anything you wanted to talk about with that, or I don't know? I can ramble on about it more.
No. I'm happy to have you ramble on about more of the intricacies of it all. When I was first coming in, not that long ago, this was one of the most exciting things that I remember you and other people talking about. It was just something that was being on the horizon. Obviously, thematically and tonally, and Gabe and Joe both talked a bunch of different places about how formative and important the Sandman books were for them. So to be able to end up creating something that fits in so well with that world that being able to create this kind of partnership in the first place was something that we could do. I'm just really excited everyone be able to get their hands on it before too long.
Yeah. If you were reading In Pale Battalions Go, which was the last short Sandman series before it, there are a lot of hints kind of dropped, a lot of references and links kind of posed between the Locke and Key world and the Sandman universe. And it's worth checking those out if you haven't tracked them down yet. But this actual crossover, it's spectacular. We're doing IDW is publishing the first part of it. Should be next month, and DC is publishing part 2 as Sandman Universe Locke and Key #1. Still Hell and Gone. So yeah, it's going to be I know this is like a big story for Joe and Gabe, and it is one that really ties into the mythos of Locke and Key that they've been building too. It isn't it isn't like a side story or anything like that. It's really integral to the history of Key House and to the history of the of this world that we've all come to love over the last what is it, decade and change.
Right. I mean, I know time is a little bit of a wibbly thing right now in general, but yeah, it's about right.
I'm sure it's longer than that. So yeah, no, we've got super excited about that. I'm also, excited. Speaking of other creator-owned books, we're entering our second year, I think, of publishing another one of the really formative comics for me. Another one that was super important to me, Usagi Yojimbo by Stan Sakai.
Yeah, the fact that we've got so many different things going on with Stan and just the kind of ever-growing universe of Usagi Yojimbo is really exciting to me as well. I mean, obviously, Stan is quite literally a living legend of the comics world, winning numerous awards over the decades-long career, including Reuben Award, 2 Eisner Awards, and 2 Ringo Awards in the not too distant past. But it's really exciting for me that we've got so many different kind of versions of things in terms of what Stan's been working on and what Stan and additional people are working on with him in the future. On one hand, we've got obviously the ongoing monthly issues, the full color stories, which are being collected in standalone volumes, and it's just a continuation of Stan's just never-ending output of stories with these characters and worlds. But we also obviously have the classic content, a lot of the stuff that had been published in black and white beginning in the mid 80s are things that we're able to bring to the table today in terms of the colorized classics versions of the stories that he's doing. And believe that we have a new #1 of that, the Dragon Ball Conspiracy, coming up this June with all the Origins branding for it as well. But one of the things that I'm the most excited about in terms of some of the conversations that we've had both internally with Stan and the people that make up kind of Team Sakai, but also the people who are getting books and comics into folks' hands is the Chibi Usagi volume that's coming out this summer, in terms of just being able to have an all ages standalone original graphic novel in a fun new style that can be perfect for new readers who love the artwork, or honestly for people who just love Stan's output but maybe want something that can just quite literally stand alone. And sometimes it's a benefit to have decades and decades of history. Sometimes it can be a little intimidating, and just having a brand new starting point and a brand new take on this character and world is just a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I think it's been fun to see those in the backup stories in Usagi, but this one's by I actually didn't catch this until pretty recently. Just Sakai, which is Just Julie and Stan Sakai. So Julie's doing most of the writing and drawing in this. There's a little bit. I know the book has the Free Comic Book Day that Stan the kind of I didn't introduce the character because Chibi Usagi's been around for a while, but created an introduction to the character, so that's in there too. Julie's even lettering it. Stan's one of the best letterers in the history of comics, and it turns out she's pretty good too. So it's I don't know. Yeah, I'm totally excited. I've always loved the Usagi side projects. the ones that come off of the main series, and this is kind of one of my favorites. I think a lot of people probably learned about Usagi Yojimbo, at least if they're. I actually happen to be a fan beforehand, but if they're around my age, they probably learned about it on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when the Usagi was a frequent guest character and guest toy and stuff. We're in to put it mildly, a pretty exciting time of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comics.
Right? Where to even begin?
I don't know. Yeah, it's for anybody that's missed it, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin is a huge blockbuster series. It was the #1 comic. Issue 2 was the #1 comic of the month that came out, which is spectacular, and it's great to see fans embracing it, embracing the characters and embracing the story. The Turtles ongoing with Sophie Campbell in the lead on that continues to be super exciting. It's a really good comic every month. I used to tell people TMNT was probably consistently the best ongoing monthly anywhere, with the exception of Usagi Yojimbo. And now it's nice to have both of them around. And it still holds true. I think it still consistently, like every month, just at the top of my pile, even if I even if it wasn't part of the job to pay attention to it. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Last Ronin, how about that?
Yeah, there is. I can't say enough fantastic things about the story, about the way it's come together, about the fan reaction to it, about how excited people have been to be able to really dive into this unique interpretation of the future of this world. And I mean, just even the idea that how long this has been gestating, and this is something we talked about a bunch in terms of just the concept of something that Kevin and Peter had back in the 80s, and now for the past, obviously this is not something that happened overnight. I mean, you guys have been working on this for years now to be able to get it to this point. And it's wonderful to see that the reaction has been so strong, and that all of you have been, people who got the chance to get their hands on it, have been as excited about it as we hoped and thought everyone could be.
Yeah, no, it's a concept from Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird from the late 80s, and longtime Turtles scripter Tom Waltz coming in scripting it with Tom, like working like super closely with Tom. I mean, I've talked to those guys pretty much every day, and they're, as much as social distancing allows, like just getting together and planning the stuff out together. Kevin's doing all the layouts. The arts by Asao and Isaac Escorza, who are kind of newcomers to Turtles, were real spectacular. Ben Bishop's doing the flashback sequences, which, if you have read issue 2, if you had your heart broken by issue 2 yet, that those flashback sequences they're not just flashbacks. That's a big part of what the story is, and it takes center stage. And Kevin came in and did a group of pages fully, all the way in the old duotone black and white style that he did, that he and Peter used to do the original Turtles comics for this issue 2. I don't know, it's super exciting. Luis Antonio Delgado. I've seen some of it. I was very blown away by some of the colors I've seen that he's done on the next issue. Just he's such a good colorist in general, but his color choices on that are so evocative of some of the pieces that this comic kind of takes influence from and references a little bit, in the same way that like the old Turtles comics, once it stopped being like a parody, once it's still kind of reference some older comics, and this one's no exception. But you know what? I don't know if we should be talking about this, Nachie.
There's probably someone a little bit more informed. Yeah.
So let's kick this over to Turtles co-creator, Mr. Kevin Eastman.
Hey there, Kevin Eastman here, co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I am so excited to be here with you. I'll tell you, the last 10 years, heading on 11 years, working with IDW on the ongoing comic series with the incredible Tom Waltz and Bobby Curnow, writer, editor, all around awesome guy, and the fantastic artists that have helped bring this series to life. I still love so much. I still remember clearly when we finally hit that 100 issues. 100 issues consecutively of the Turtles. It was just such an incredible and creative and fantastic run. And now to sort of see where it's going with the wonderful Sophie Campbell and what she's doing and is continuing. But Tom and I were able to transition out of the 100 issues into a series called The Last Ronin. And that's been mind-blowing in not only the sense that it's based on a story that Peter and I wrote in 1987, set 30 years in the future. Tom and I have adapted it, from that original treatment and time concept and timeline where this is a futuristic story. And we're just having such an incredible time. And it's your fault, by the way. I can't thank you enough. One of the things that's been so exciting about this project is the art team that we put together, the creative team, rather, is it really, I say it takes a village really to produce a comic. There's so many important components in the evolution and development of a story. And Tom and I, with the writing that we're doing, because we're not only writing and plotting together, but then I'm doing the layouts, which helps further develop the story. So once we got that structure solidly in place, we found these twins that draw exactly alike, the Escorza brothers, Isaac and Esau, and they're just doing an absolutely amazing job of bringing that vision to life that Tom and I had. It's beautiful. And what we wanted to do in the structure of the story is having, not only the main storyline, but we were staging these flashback sequences were how we got there. So we brought in my friend, Ben Bishop, and he's doing this really Batman Year One sort of style take on adapting those sequences. And then the icing on the cake is Luis Antonio Delgado, who is just a colorist. He's an artist, of course. He's a genius. But it is really that, everything from, Bobby's input, the coloring, the art teams. It is really a whole team that makes it all that it can be. And man, we're producing 40-page books, and we are working pretty much night and day to make sure we get it back on track, back on schedule, and make it. Most importantly, is the best story it can be, what it deserves to be, and we want to make sure we hit that level with this awesome team. Heartfelt thank you very, very much. I appreciate you guys so much.
Cool. So we've got a lot more to get into in terms of everything that is coming up from IDW. It's moving on from the Word of the Turtles. We're going to talk a little bit about what's coming out in July with Bermuda.
Yeah, this is another one that's been in the works for a little while. I think we were like we did with a couple creator-owned series. We'd planned to put this out, and then COVID hit. We weren't really sure how things were going to go. It's turned out to be, people have definitely wanted comics, and we're happy to get them comics. So we're excited to get Bermuda around. It's John Layman, who from Chew and countless other things, a bunch of stuff at IDW, but a bunch of stuff other places, Batman. I don't know. I can't get into John Layman's history. And then Nick Bradshaw, you probably remember from Wolverine and the X-Men and other X books. A spectacular artist. So they're doing a 4-issue limited series debuting in July. Bermuda is a 16-year-old girl who happens to live in an otherworldly dimension, sort of a place where lost things show up from different eras, swarming with dinosaurs, pirates, lost fleets of aircraft, all that kind of stuff. But the thing that I think is really the nice twist on this is this isn't about her trying to get out. Like, that's not her goal. This is where she lives. Which is sort of her trying to protect people who do wind up there, help other people get out. It's a really fun adventure story. It's it is one of the stories that kind of works for you no matter how old you are. That it's kids who like that sort of swashbuckling adventure will like it, but so do adults who like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited to see this come to the light of day. I mean, the art, I don't know how much of the art editor Scott Dunbier showed you, but Stuff's amazing.
I've seen a bit here and there. I, as someone who's the dad of a kid who's just really starting to fall in love with dinosaurs, I'm very much looking forward to him being old enough to dive into this, because I've seen a lot of dinosaurs in the past, let's say a year or so, as the interest grows. And yeah, when Scott had passed along, I think not only the covers, but some of the interior stuff that Nick's been working on as well. It's always just awesome to see something that's so kind of bombastically fun. So yeah, I think people are really gonna love it when they get their hands on.
Awesome, yeah. Well, okay. I mean, it's now or never, guys. I hope you wished hard enough.
Right. I hope that you've been able to hear us over the din of yourselves clapping. Hopefully not nonstop since we began. It's been some minutes.
Yeah.
But now is about that time for Lee Walton to come along, the publicist and marketing director at Top Shelf Productions, and talk with us a little bit about everything that's coming up from Top Shelf's point of view. Some people call him Lee, some people call him Mr. Top Shelf. You internet can decide what you want to address him as well. Lee, thank you for taking the time to chat, and thank you for getting all stiffied up for the occasion.
In this year, unlike any other, we have to seize the occasions to dress up when they present themselves. How you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Enjoying WonderCon. How about you?
This is my first WonderCon, believe it or not. So thank you so much for having me.
No way. Wow.
I don't often get over there. Here I am on the East Coast, but I hear wonderful things. You can't beat the climate. And it's nice to be here, even if only virtually.
Talk a little bit about They Call Us Enemy.
Sure. This is really the mega successful book of the last couple of years at Top Shelf. We could not be more proud of the story that this entire team put together. First and foremost, George Takei, living legend and icon, but also his co-writers, Justin Eisinger and Stephen Scott, and artist Harmony Becker, have really put together something spectacular here. We're now proud that it's available in a lot of different formats. This is the recent Spanish translation that IDW put out. And you know, the great honor of this book is that it keeps going and keeps building and reaching new communities and readers. Just recently, it's won a boatload of awards: the Eisner Award, the Asian Pacific American Award from the Asian Pacific branch of the American Library Association, the Dwayne McDuffie Award for Diversity in Comics, the Mike Wieringo Award. So, you know, really many ends of the spectrum of book publishing and comics publishing. The story of what George went through as a young child, what his family went through, and 120,000 other Japanese Americans, and the way that they sort of rebuilt the American dream for themselves again and again, and the way that the lessons of that story force us to think about, what does it mean to be an American? What is my obligation as an American to make this country live up to its ideals? I mean, these are really timeless lessons, and the way that the book is told is really unforgettable. So thrilled at the continuing success of They Call Us Enemy. Whew.
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, I remember reading it before it came out. It's harrowing and touching and funny and emotional. I mean, it's all these things.
Yeah, I mean, I love how Harmony in particular really keeps it grounded within that childlike perspective.
Yeah.
You know, you never forget that this is the story of an older man looking back at his own childhood and showing the world through those eyes. And George was very concerned about making sure that we captured the lightness as well as the darkness, because, you know, in his memory, it actually was kind of an adventure. Because he was so young and he had that innocence, and his parents worked so hard to keep the darkness from him. And so the book really takes the reader on that journey through the darkness and the light, and really looking at it from all angles. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. So what else is coming up? What's going up?
Similarly heavy graphic memoir. You know, this is a genre that's really booming right now. And we are thrilled to have brought from France a translation of a wonderful graphic memoir about surviving a brain tumor and literally piecing your mind back together. And that's this book by Elodie Duran called Parenthesis. And just a stunning representation of literally losing your mind and then having to glue it back together again through radiation treatments and therapy and time and a very supportive family. So it's, it includes art that she drew while she was going through this process. We can kind of watch the lines start to become shaky as she's losing control of herself and watch it sort of knit itself back together again. It's truly incredible. The reviews have been terrific so far, won several awards in Europe. And we know that this book has a long future, particularly as the genre of graphic memoir and the genre of graphic medicine are becoming more and more significant. With this book is instantly sort of part of that canon of books.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the uniqueness of just storytelling within sequential art in the first place. And when I was reading this, that's a lot of what really struck me. Like, not only is this an amazing story and fantastic and brave of her to be able to put it all together and to really like open herself up in this process, but it's also something that is so uniquely of this format. It is so uniquely and perfectly suited to be a graphic novel in the first place because of the way that she's literally illustrating this for the reader. It's just beautiful to see.
Yeah, I mean, when Chris and Brett founded Top Shelf way back in '97, I think their vision for the company was always that it would make you feel connected to a real human being on the other side of the book, so that as a reader, you can tell a real person made this and you learn something about that person over the course of reading the book. Even if it's fiction, even if it's science fiction, even if it's a kid's book, there's a real core of humanity to it. And this book could not have been made by any other person but the person whose name is on the cover. And so that's always what we look for when we're acquiring books, when we're editing books and publishing them. We really want to have that human touch come across. Speaking of kids' books, we actually can shift maybe a little bit away from the heavy stuff, and we've had so many great kids' books lately. We've had Cody by Jared Cullum. It's a gorgeous, fully watercolor painted. You know what? I already shelved it because I love it so much. No, here it is. The story of a girl and her bear, and really just could not be more beautiful. Jared's an experienced painter of the outdoors, and the way he captures the sort of Pacific Northwest environment and the love between this girl and this animal and the action and cartooniness that he puts into these characters is just jaw-dropping. And a lot of folks have said, it looks like a Pixar movie on paper. And it has that same sort of all ages appeal that the best Pixar movies do. So really thrilled with Cody. Again, the reviews have been terrific. Jared Roseo is a Cuban-American cartoonist who's done this amazing series called Red Panda and Moon Bear. I'm actually deep in the middle of editing book 2 right now. So the adventures of Red Panda and Moon Bear will continue. But it's just a wonderful, sunshiny, action-adventure, Saturday morning type story in this sort of Cuban-American community in southern Florida that's sort of a fictional amalgam of a couple of different towns, but there's so much magic and monsters and time machines and robots and just a brother and a sister, 2 kids saving the day through the power of love and action. So you cannot put a smile on your face on every single page of this book.
No, it really feels
the other one I want to.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it really feels like when you're being a kid and I'm just playing superheroes, except it's happening, to them. Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites. So I'm glad to hear number 2 is coming soon. That's it's
coming, and it's gonna be a hoot. The other one I wanted to shout out is Home Time by Campbell White. The book was so big we had to break it into 2 gorgeous hardcover volumes. Those are here, Home Time 1 and Home Time 2. And looking at this book, you would never in your wildest dreams imagine it's all made by one person. He works in 6 different art styles over the course of the book. There's a pixel art chapter, there's a fully painted on canvas chapter, there's a digital painted chapter, there's a pencil chapter, but there's a story reason behind all of it. And the way that the 6 characters sort of interweave is just incredible. I've never seen any book quite like it, but some useful comparisons might be like the Dinotopia books by James Gurney, or sort of like classic Alice in Wonderland type stories, or old RPG video games from the late 80s and early 90s, those old Final Fantasy games for Super Nintendo or something like that. Just so much fun. And again, not just for kids, but really for all ages.
Cool. As part of the he's part. I've heard you say before that the Hometime's part of the Australian invasion.
Yes.
What's that all about?
So the Australian invasion is sort of our program that we did last year for 3 brilliant Australian cartoonists: Campbell White, who did Hometime, and also Pat Grant, brilliant cartoonist who did this book about post-apocalyptic grifters called The Grot, which is gorgeous and a lot of fun. And then also young Chris Gooch. This is, believe it or not, his 3rd book with us. And it's a massive beast about an underground prison city in a sort of dystopian world, but amazing humanity, amazing writing, and all 3 of those guys are such talents. And we said, hey, we just happen to have these 3 Australian cartoonists together. Let's see if we can, host them on panels together. They've done that in partnership with the Australian Library Association, and really try to break through the noise of all the amazing comics that are out there and sort of brand them together. So we could not be more thrilled to be invaded by the wonderful Australians.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think there's more coming from Top Shelf, and I think you're going to be talking about it more.
Yes.
Elsewhere, right? Not that I'm trying to. You should stick around. I don't mean that, but sorry, that sounded bad.
No. After we get invaded by the Australians, we're going to have a whole separate Top Shelf invasion coming to your screen, I think in just a couple hours, as part of WonderCon. There's a whole Top Shelf panel. So I'll be there along with a bunch of other authors that we haven't even talked about yet because I wanted to let them speak for themselves. So stay tuned for me and James Kachalka, Christian Slade, Edgar Camacho, James Albin, and Kim Dwinell. We will be, again, coming to your screen in just a few hours, I hope.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. That's my favorite cartoonists there. That's awesome.
Well, thank you guys so much for letting me do my own invasion here to your panel. And thanks for being such a wonderful home to Top Shelf. It has been terrific to feel that we can be the best of both worlds, that we can be a small publishing house inside of a larger, more powerful publishing house. And be distributed by Penguin Random House, who does such an amazing job getting our books into everywhere around the world. I really feel so lucky to be able to apply the personal little touches, but also to have such a wonderful team standing behind us and getting our books where they need to be. So.
Thank you. I mean, the strength and diversity of the list is it's always amazing to see what is coming up on a season to season and year to year basis from Top Shelf. And even like you were saying, to have such a small focused imprint in existence with still such a wide variety, and still being able to say like there's something for people who want so many different things. I personally can't wait to be able to check out the panel with everyone that you were talking about, and be able to go into what's coming out in the near future for a lot of those, but especially just knowing even what's further out on the horizon that we're not even kind of talking about yet. It's a very, very exciting time. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks
Guys.
Nice of Lee to come by. Thanks everybody for doing your part in the clapping and et cetera to get him here.
Back over to the IDW side of things. Obviously, a large part of what we do here is working with some amazing partners on and their worlds and universes, literally and figuratively. And I think that talking about digging to the Star Trek side of things from there would be a fantastic place for what's coming up in the near future.
Yeah, and I think one of the big things we have coming up is Star Trek Year 5, which has been coming out for the past couple of years. I guess ironically, because it's about 1 year, but still is closing in on the end of the Enterprise's 5-year mission. And this has been a real fun ride. I think when we launched it, we didn't really tell everybody that the plan was that we were going to do 25 issues of this series, because I think at the time that we launched it, that would have been a bit absurd, like who knew how it was going to go. So much stuff can happen over the course of 25 issues. And so much stuff, in fact, did happen over the course of 25 issues, I guess, if you look at the world. But we did it. We're closing in on the finish line. The last storyline is going to be issues 22 through 25. 25 is sort of an overall wrap up of the whole series. But it'll be the Jackson Lanzig and Colin Kelly, and then Stephen Thompson, who's been doing the brilliant covers for most of the series, if not all the series. I might be selling them short. And has drawn several of the story arcs. It's all of the pieces with the Tholians and a lot of the storylines that have been running since issue 1, and the series has picked up on a lot of things that were kind of left hanging or still left out there from the original series from the 60s. All of it's going to come to a head, so I'm very excited to see that. We'll find out about the conspiracy within the Federation. I don't know. It's exciting stuff. It's one of my favorite Trek series we've done. So I'm excited to see that come to fruition.
And from Journeys Through the Stars to things coming from up in the Earth itself, I'd love to then bring things over to Godzilla's side of things in our kind of versioning program there.
Yes. No, we're IDW has been home to Godzilla before and for a while, and we have a brand new series called Monsters and Protectors launching very soon. I think this month or next month. It's by the creative team who you might know from the Ghostbusters comic that we did, which I always meant this in the absolute best way possible, but that series was so much better than it had any right to be. I think about what made Ghostbusters tick. It was the actors, all the stuff, but Eric Burnham, Dan Schoening, and even key part of the team, colorist Luis Antonio Delgado, brought so much to that series that made it feel real and feel like the characters, and then bringing that to Godzilla in really a story, again, kind of aimed at all ages. This one is especially I think will be appealing to younger readers. A businessman's profit-hungry actions unleash dangerous energies, and Godzilla has to lash out and protect humanity. Well, actually, that's not true. Godzilla kind of doesn't care about humanity. That's sort of a key attribute about him. So Godzilla's efforts to stop this kind of have to get harnessed in a way that will maybe protect everyone. But that's the thrill of the story. So it's pretty exciting. The art's gorgeous. The stories are lively and fun, and has a good message about about the environment and everything. Something we need to think about. And I know that I know that's a big thing with my kids, and that that we talk about. Well, one of my kids is 2, so it's not, but the other one isn't, and it is an important thing.
No, and it obviously keys into such a core part of through the many iterations of Godzilla that existed over the years in whatever medium you want to talk about. That's always been a heart of the character and the franchise in general. And I think this is a really cool and new and modern, for this age group way to be able to take that story on. But speaking of the various iterations of Godzilla and the various kind of monsters in Godzilla's circle that have appeared over the years, going into a slightly kind of older skewing territory. You want to talk a little bit about coming up with Rivals?
Yeah. Godzilla Rivals is going to be a quarterly spotlight with each issue spotlighting Godzilla and one of the other famous kaiju monsters in the Godzilla mythos. The first one is Godzilla Rivals versus Hedorah, featuring, I would say, probably everybody's favorite smog monster. It's written by Paul Aller, who's been doing G.I. Joe recently and TMNT, a bunch of things, and E.J. Su, who was the first artist on IDW's Transformers stuff, and his art on this Godzilla series. It's amazing. It's again, this is like the best stuff EJ has done, and that's saying a lot. But we'll have more of these coming soon. I don't want to give too much away, but maybe coming up we'll have the Mother of all battles. I don't want to give anybody away. Give it away. Anyway, I guess we're kind of going over here. I guess
We are.
I guess we got to go fast.
Is it time to go fast? Can we go fast? Well, the good thing about that is that we're going to be introducing a little bit of a separate panel as well. Of course, getting into the world of Sonic the Hedgehog. IDW has obviously been a home for Sonic for a very long time, but as we come up on the 30th anniversary of this one true hedgehog as it was, I think there's a lot of excitement in a lot of different ways coming up for what we've got planned.
Yes, well, and this is the 30th anniversary, so we've got a giant 30th anniversary special coming. It would actually be the first time IDW's done stories with classic original Sonic, who, like Sonic fans know, is slightly different than modern Sonic. And modern Sonic will also have stories in there, but have some new creators to Sonic, including the McElroys of Adventure Time fame, Gail Galligan from the Babysitters Club, plus Ian Flynn of Sonic fame. We've got a lot of stuff planned for the 30th anniversary, and we've got a WonderCon panel launching, I think, pretty shortly, if it isn't up already, with more insights into it. We'll have Ian, we'll have Evan Stanley and Gail Galligan, Ricardi Curry, and Sega's Michael Cisneros will be joining us for that panel.
Yeah, so definitely check it all out. It's I love how much, obviously, people love a lot of the things they love, and people tend to be working on these things because they have a connection to it and a passion for it. But especially when it comes to Sonic, whether it's the people who are on the 30th anniversary book or just folks who have done stuff in the past here for us at IDW, it's really one of those characters and worlds where people who are into it so much that they can't wait to start pitching things and be able to figure out like what additional stories and what additional of themselves they can bring in to the world, which is a lot of fun to see.
Definitely. And yeah, I think that not to make another awkward transition, but I really do think the same holds true with Star Wars.
Yeah.
And
that was pretty smooth. It wasn't too awkward a transition.
No, it was pretty good. Yeah, no, I mean, I think I've said before, I've been probably thinking about Star Wars for as long as I was able to think. So it's been exciting to be doing Star Wars Adventures, the younger readers oriented Star Wars series. We relaunched it in October with a new number 1. Every issue's got 2 stories focusing on your favorite heroes and villains from throughout all of the trilogies and all of the stories and all of the all of everything, really. It's kind of the fun of the series, is you can kind of jump around and pull in characters that you maybe haven't seen for a little while, and never know where it's going to go. We've got a 2-part story called Weapon of a Jedi coming out. It's an adaptation of the New York Times bestseller by Jason Fry, with the Empire hunting the rebels after the destruction of the first Death Star. So it's Luke focused. It'll be a fun 2-issue series. But I think one of the things we've been most excited about here, I mean, as much as I'm excited about that ongoing series and always, but the launch of Star Wars: The High Republic Adventures. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that. I think you have...
Yeah, I mean, this is something that again, I was thrilled to be able to see kind of coming together, being worked on for a long time before I was even here the tail end of last year. But knowing everything that's gone into the High Republic initiative, everything that like Lucasfilm has been able to be driving across what we are doing with High Republic Adventures, and then what exists, whether it be from Lucasfilm Press or from Marvel or from Del Rey, to really carve out a publishing storytelling specific corner of such a huge franchise, and such a unique slice of it, like being able to have these stories that are coming to life in a space that is far ahead of what people had seen within the Skywalker saga, and knowing how much more there is to come. I'm really thrilled that people have been so excited about getting their hands on the first couple of issues of High Republic Adventures. And we actually have Daniel José Older here, to the writer of the High Republic Adventures, to get into it a little bit more with all of you, and to walk through some of the stuff that he's been working on for this as well.
Hey everybody, I am Daniel José Older, author of Star Wars: The High Republic Adventures from IDW. I'm very honored to be here with you guys today to talk to you about the High Republic and all the great work we're doing. The High Republic Adventures is part of this larger initiative that Star Wars has put together that tells the story of what the galaxy was like several centuries before Anakin and Luke and all the Skywalkers and the whole Skywalker saga. So it's a fresh start for Star Wars. We meet almost all new characters. We do have Yoda and a couple other folks running around. It's tons of Jedi. It's amazing conversations about the Force, and it's lots of fun adventures to be had. The High Republic Adventures tells the story of a group of Padawans, young Jedi, who are traveling all around the galaxy with Yoda basically as their chaperone on kind of a year abroad to see the galaxy and have exciting times and see what happens. And of course, it immediately goes wrong, and they come face to face with some dangerous raiders, a galactic space disaster, all kinds of amazing problems come up right off the bat, and it's a lot of fun. The really exciting thing, I think, about this particular story is that we get to tell an epic saga that stands on its own and has a huge story with lots of different character beats and world developments and other things happening in the Star Wars galaxy. It's totally independent on its own, and it's connected to all the other stories in the High Republic in a really cool way. So characters pop up, there's Easter eggs. None of them distract from the story, but all of them speak to the wider world that we're building with the High Republic. And at the same time, lots of the other novels and comics will lead readers back to the story that we're telling with IDW's The High Republic Adventures. It's so much fun, and it's such a cool way for brand new fans to jump into Star Wars. Because again, we're starting from somewhere brand new that no one's ever been before. We're telling a whole new era, and we get to explore that era through the eyes of young people having these adventures and these exciting times and everything else that's going on. And we get Yoda. So at the same time, if you are an old school fan, and if you've been loving Star Wars your whole life, like I have, there's also plenty here to sink your teeth into. There's plenty of explanations and deeper thoughts about the Force and Jedi lore, and lots of cool world building. We visit planets that are mentioned in the different trilogies. We get to meet new bad guys. There's tons of cool monsters. And lastly, I'll say I'm working with an amazing team. Harvey Tolibao is an incredible artist. I have admired him for a long time. His work absolutely brings these characters and these stories and these creatures to life in a way that's beyond what I even imagine when I write them. And Rebecca Nalty does excellent color work. It's just such a fun team to work with, and we're having a blast. May the Force be with you.
Thanks, Daniel. We hope that you enjoyed getting his insight as much as we enjoy being able to hear it, and are looking forward to everything that he's got coming up from his slice of the High Republic adventures in the future. If we get into kind of turning the final corner of things for IDW's panel for here at WonderCon, we wanted to move over to the Marvel Comics side of the world with our Marvel Action ongoing series.
Yeah, we've got a kind of entering a fun new era of Marvel Action. One of the ones kind of leading the way is Marvel Action Origins, which, like the name implies, is telling you the origins of some of your favorite characters. It's a monthly series with 2 stories each issue. And it's perfect for younger readers to become familiar with characters, also for older readers who want to find a good way to introduce the history of Thanos to younger readers. They're super fun. It's Christopher Eliopoulos is writing it. He's the artist on the IM books that Brad Meltzer writes. If you have kids, you probably have some of those. They're fantastic. And Chris is also a longtime Marvel Comics letterer and writer, Pet Avengers, a lot of fun stuff over the years. And Lana Suvani is doing the amazing art. It's just super charming and super fun. We've got Captain Marvel, a new #1, hit stores earlier this month. Sam Maggs and Sweeney Boo, who are there for, they've been doing the series from our launch. This first story arc, she teams up with Gwen Stacy, or Ghost Spider, as some might know her, and Squirrel Girl. So it's a super exciting time to be reading Captain Marvel. We've got a new chapter in Spider-Man as well, with Peter Parker becoming a student at the Oscorp Charter School of Technology, written by Sarah Graley and Steph Perrinens. who did Our Super Adventure, Donut the Destroyer. Sarah does the Kim Reaper. And Phil Murphy is drawing it. He did Star Wars Transformers for us. Excuse me, Star Trek Transformers for us. I got to work with him on that. And it's a real different take on Spider-Man than we've had. And I think we've had a lot of fun with Spider-Man so far. And this is a really cool take, really fun. Spider-Man's one of those characters everybody knows, and this is I had the Spider-Man kids book that I used to read to my daughter, and one day she was like naming family members, and she started naming Aunt May and Uncle Ben and stuff in the family members. So you can have that experience too with Spider-Man. But I'm actually super excited too about new Avengers #1 we've got coming later this year. It's Shay Grayson, who wrote and directed the short film Magic Hour last year, and Ark Revner on the art. But the cool thing with this is that we're following Ironheart, Tony Stark's young protege. Isn't the right word because they're more antagonistic than that. But she's coming in, or she's come into the Avengers, so we're kind of seeing it through her eyes. Sort of young hero who's brilliant and skilled, but seeing all of these older heroes and how it all looks through her eyes. It's a real fun version of Avengers, and can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah, being able to have so many places where, like you were saying, we can just have introductory in some cases with the origins, but just to really be able to have something that you can give to a reader of any age, someone who's maybe seen some of these characters in other places and wants to be able to dive into more of the kind of age appropriate storytelling. It's a cool place to be, and it's awesome that we've got so many new iterations of these characters and stories coming up.
Yeah.
So speaking of, you had mentioned that stuff that you have worked on from the other side of the desk as well, as we kind of turn the corner into Transformers, a world. Obviously, you know a lot about a lot of the various franchises in the world that you are responsible for from the editor chief of IDW, but I can't think of anything that you've been more immersed in over the years than Transformers, if I'm not mistaken. It's a pretty exciting time for everyone working on what's coming up in the near future.
Yeah, no, absolutely. On the ongoing Transformers series, we're entering a story arc called War World. Our Transformers series has been set for the past couple years, and the events leading up to the war on Cybertron, and the war is really happening now. It's starting to heat up. Megatron is overthrowing the Senate. The war between the Autobots and Decepticons is rolling, and everybody's just caught in the middle of it. Brian Ruckley has been writing the series from the beginning, and Anna Malkova has been one of the key artists throughout, and she's coming in, or she's continuing to be there and continuing to draw the series with issue 28. And then simultaneously with that, Brian's also writing Transformers Escape, which is a limited series kind of focusing mostly on Wheeljack, on a lot of other characters, but he's trying to get the Cybertronians out of the war by creating the Ark, the famous ship. If you know Transformers, that was what they crashed to Earth in, and we've never seen it from this direction. So it's pretty cool. And Bethany McGuire Smith is drawing Escape, another one of the key artists in the Transformers ongoing. One of the things that's been really cool about Transformers, though, is Transformers definitely played a big part in my life, but it's played a big part in a lot of people's lives. One of the things that's been really fun is that depending on how old you are, you kind of came in with different versions of Transformers. For people a little bit younger than me, their Transformers was Beast Wars. We finally have a new ongoing monthly series that's sort of taking the Beast Wars mythos and doing what we did with the G1 stuff, doing what IDW's done with G1 forever, taking all the pieces that work, adding some new bits, and I don't know. It's another. I don't know. It's another exciting version of Transformers, very different than the Transformers ongoing we have. But Eric Burnham's writing that one, who we just talked about on Godzilla, with longtime Transformers colorist and artist Josh Burcham on the art, which is super fun. It's really lively. It's a fresh continuity with some familiar faces. I mean, that's kind of the take on it, and that's what's made made the, I think the IDW Transformers stuff tick from the beginning.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this being able to be a another pillar of what we can do in Transformers world. And like you were saying, the art style is just, it's a lot of fun. You know, you've talked a lot in the past about the challenges of finding specific tones for Transformers in terms of artists. Not everyone can draw something like that, and the world can be complicated. And Beast Wars is an especially tricky one. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, no, we've definitely been lucky to have some very excellent artists on Transformers, and all three of those ones mentioned are
cool. That is a relatively brief overview of everything that IDW and Top Shelf have going on right now. Thank you for taking the time to take a look and a listen to everything that we are working on bringing to you and to shops and everywhere else in the world in the upcoming weeks and months and year. Wanted to call out again that fans of TMNT and Sonic the Hedgehog can check out the WonderCon video panels dedicated to those titles, as well as to the deeper dive into everything that Lee was talking about from the Top Shelf side of things. And we want to give an extra thanks to Kevin Eastman, Lee Walton, and Daniel Jose Older for participating in their segments and joining us as well.
Yeah. I think I forgot to even mention I'm excited about the Turtles panel. I get to be there too, so you can join me and Kevin, and I think Tom Waltz and Brom Revel will be there, so don't miss that. And don't miss your favorite graphic novels and comics from IDW and Top Shelf. Support your local comic shops. I know they really appreciate it all the time, but especially right now. Use comicshoplocator.com if you don't know where one is near you. Graphic novels are from IDW, Top Shelf, everybody are available at brick and mortar and online retailers everywhere. So please check them out if anything here sounds exciting.
Yeah, and please do also take the time to check us out on whichever social media is your flavor currently, between Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, for latest news and updates for the titles. And also, we've been talking a lot about the creators. Be sure to check out them as well. A lot of the people who spend a lot of time just pouring their heart and soul into the books and the stories that we're talking about. Love being able to share them with you, and so please give a look out for anyone who you've seen and are interested in this as well. And with that, thank you again for taking the time and joining us in this overview of everything we've got coming in the future. We're really looking forward to bringing all of this and more to you as we're going through the year and beyond.
Yeah, thanks a lot for joining us. It's been a blast being here, as always.